Hey everyone, welcome back to my thoughts on E3 2014, and we're finally getting to Nintendo, which for many people is kind of like a big one, and I guess maybe my audience, with retro gaming being, of course, my main focal point, Nintendo is kind of still always going to be one that we look at because we love the series so much. It endears us, regardless of that Nintendo has its downfalls at times. Nintendo is seen as the outcast, and I always consider, even nowadays, that the console wars that exist is Sony and Microsoft. With Nintendo, they do their own thing. They don't have to abide by rules because they're not threatened by the other two major companies. They don't get out of shape, bent out of shape because of whatever is going on with them. At least that's how they carry themselves. You don't see them attacking one another. They're not attacking Sony or Microsoft, whereas Microsoft and Sony regularly attack one another for whenever they get the opportunity to. But anyway, so Nintendo, because they don't have to live by anyone else's rules, they do their own thing. They decided to do kind of a digital event. Their whole thing wasn't the average event like a lot of the other ones were doing. What they decided to do was like a full-blown kind of video thing, showcasing highlight videos and all that, not doing a stage presentation, not having people come to the, come in and watch the conference like they've done in the past, and they have floundered at times with those. And you can look back at the Wii Music year, which was the worst Nintendo press conference ever, that featured Wii Music, Shaun White snowboarding, and Wii Sports Resort. It was one of the worst Nintendo conferences ever, and honestly, it pretty much killed Nintendo's conferences. What put the nail in the coffin, though, was Skyward Sword. When Skyward Sword was first unveiled and its gameplay was first shown, and it didn't work due to interference from wireless devices in the audience, it made the game look awful. And it killed the momentum that game had going for it, and I still, because of that, I still think is the reason why that E3 demo was the reason why Skyward Sword is the worst selling Legend of Zelda game to this date. And honestly, I think they should kind of repackage it in some way, shape, or form and do something with it. Because Skyward Sword does have, like, a lot of people, and there's even a lot of people that didn't like Skyward Sword when it did come out. Though I do think it will suffer from a Zelda syndrome. I know I'm kind of getting a little off track. And if you don't know what I mean by that, I mean, like, it seems like with Zelda games, every game that comes out, a lot of people pan the game as not being good or whatever, and then like 5-10 years down the road, all of a sudden, it's a legendary masterpiece. Legendary Legend of Zelda. Anyway, Majora's Mask was looked down upon so much, and now all of a sudden Majora's Mask is so well loved by a large group of fans that do love it, that they want a remake of it. Wind Waker has been the same thing. We've seen a surgence of Twilight Princess, which Twilight Princess was well received, more so than Wind Waker or Majora, but it's still gaining more things. So I'm hoping maybe 5 years down the line, all of a sudden people are going to look at Skyward Sword and realize that there was a lot of good there. And anyway, so we're going to talk about Nintendo. They kicked it off with this amazing battle between Iwata and Reggie, and they kind of had this big brawl whole thing leading into, of course, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, also showing Iwata, and like it was Reggie's Mii versus Iwata's Mii, and they debuted the Miis being playable for Super Smash Bros., and it's not just a Mii being available. It's not just one character. You can put any of your Miis in there, and they have 3 different distinct types of Miis, whether it's like the Brawler, the Sword User, or the Gunner, the Blaster guy. And so there's a lot of variety already to the Mii. So they're really 3 characters, not just one character. They also showed the Amiibos, the NFC figures being put on the gamepad, and then because of that, Mario jumping into the game and helping Iwata's Mii, or Iwata win the Smash Brothers matchup. So that led into, of course, talking about the Amiibos, which are these little action figures, and they're getting a lot of hype. In fact, I would love to actually bring this up. I doubt I'll be able to. See if I can actually do this while I'm talking. But anyway, what these basically are, they're these little statues, and what they are is you put them on your gamepad at any time, and I'll blow this up for you in case you didn't get a chance to see them, and you put them on your Wii U pad, and they go into the game for Smash, and they've kind of showcased these ones already. There's a Kirby one has also been shown, that it's not in this picture. And you're going to be able to use these for Smash, for Mario Party 10 that's going to be coming out later, for Mario Kart 8 eventually, Yoshi's new game, which we'll get into in a little bit, and some other games as well. And they're basically Nintendo's answer, yes, to Skylanders and to Disney Infinity, but at least they're Nintendo. So for me, they're video game related all around. I'm a big fan of Nintendo, and you can look at it, even though, yes, it is a gimmick for a game, it's not one game in particular. They're going to be compatible with multiple different games. And the other thing is, if you're a fan of these series in particular, they're a cool collectible just to have. If you're a fan of Metroid, it's cool just to get the Simus one, just to have it. Or if you're a fan of Animal Crossing, there's not a whole lot of merchandise out there for Animal Crossing. So get the Villager, and you can have at least a piece of Animal Crossing memorabilia and put on your shelf, along with all the other stuff, whatever you have. And so there's going to be a ton of stuff available, hopefully, eventually for this. Hopefully every Smash character does get one of these, so we won't just have it that these come out and then half the other Smash characters that do exist don't ever end up getting anything. And I guess I'll kind of throw everything for Smash kind of in one big thing. We're going to talk about all Smash here first, and then I'll jump into the other things that were shown here in the conference. A lot of cool stuff for Smash. New levels were showcased, some item stuff, some of the single-player aspects or other modes of Smash being introduced. They also announced that they were delaying the 3DS version. Originally, it was supposed to be summer of this year. Now it's going to be October. And that the Wii U version was not changed its date. It just says winter still. They don't have an official date. I'm hoping they mean, like, this year still. I'm hoping it's out by Christmas time. Who knows? It may get delayed till early next year. Brawl came out in March, I want to say, years ago. So it could be a March release. Who knows? I'm still a little disappointed that we're getting one version before the other, but hey, what are you going to do? They also announced, besides just the Mii's being playable, they announced Palutena, Lady Palutena. I always say her name wrong. I get a lot of flack for this, even back when I did my Kid Icarus video for my play it through. That, I just don't say the name right. And I apologize for that. I know now since Kid Icarus Uprising, we finally have the proper pronunciation for her name. But anyway, she is a playable character, which was rumored for a while, and it does make sense. They did a really amazing anime-style introduction for her character. And it was kind of like when it first started showing, I was like, oh, wow, she's going to be playable. That's what this whole point is. But then I started watching this thing, I'm like, wow, this is really cool. Are they actually going to do like a Smash Brothers anime? And no, but it was just to introduce her character. So I'm kind of like, why not just do an anime for Smash? You make a crap ton of money off of that. I doubt they will, but why not do that? That'd be just amazing. For a lot of people out there would buy this up in droves easily. Have it through like a streaming service on Nintendo's site, and they make a lot of money, blah, blah, whatever. And then they showed, at the very end of it, Dark Pit kind of in the background, talking to her for a second. So most likely Dark Pit will be an alternate costume, for Pit, which is really cool. That's probably the costume I would pick then for Pit. Also, there's going to be actually more customization available for the characters in the game now. You're actually going to be able to edit their movesets, change the direction of their smashes, and the whole thing. And this is not just for the Mii's, this is for all characters. Now, granted, this won't be able to go online with these, or you won't be able to do, like, tournament play or anything like that, so it won't be useful to a lot of the more hardcore Smash Brothers players, but for some other people, it may be a cool little feature that has been added. They also did a tournament at E3, with all these people getting the chance to play Smash for the first time, and so you got to see a lot of footage of how the game plays, and I'm very excited. It looks closer in some ways to Melee, which is a good thing for me. Melee, I still think, is the best Smash Brothers, and who knows, in the end, we may all look at it, and a lot of people will be like, well, Melee is still better, and that may be the case, but it looks like they took some of the negatives that were in Brawl, and they kind of have changed the speed up a little bit, and it looks like it's closer to Melee, so it's going to be fun to play no matter what. Anyone who's talking about this is going to get Smash. I mean, come on, you're getting a Wii U, or, you're getting Smash. That's why I'm like, why does the 3DS version even exist? Because if it didn't exist, more people were forced to buy the Wii U, and the Wii U needs sales. It's kind of infuriating at times. But after the tournament, they then introduced another new character. Yeah, we got 3 new characters, technically 5 new characters in one day, if you count the Mii's as 3 characters, in one go. And the reason why this character was announced after the tournament was because the character wasn't available in the demo, the version that they used for the tournament. And anyway, so it was Pac-Man. Yes. Excuse me. Namco's Pac-Man, the original Pac-Man character. Kind of in his Pac-Man world, classic form now with the actual legs and arms. And what's really cool about Pac-Man is not only can he eat characters, of course, he also can use abilities from other Namco classic games. There was some stuff from Galaga in there that was being used with him. He has a cool stage, it looks like it's going to be available for him. So you're kind of putting together all these the classic characters, and they do a really cool thing at the end of the trailer for Pac-Man. They show him talking to Game & Watch. And the one thing that's cool about that is now we assume Game & Watch will be available in the game because he hasn't been shown up to this point. And there's a lot of characters that have not been shown yet. Now, they did come out and say, just briefly, that there are a bunch of characters they have not showcased yet. But I'm hoping, I mean, we have not seen a Captain Falcon. We have not seen a Jigglypuff. We have not seen a Ness. But we know that F-Zero stuff, I think, is in the game already. And I'm sure I'm sure some of these characters will make it in. Jigglypuff is my personal favorite character. That's who I play as in Melee. Who I play in is in the original Smash. I moved away from Jigglypuff a little bit in Brawl because the character was nerfed a little bit. It was changed a bit. And Jigglypuff wasn't as fluid or fun to play to me in Brawl as they were in Melee. So I kind of moved on to other characters, but I moved on to, like, Lucas. I like Lucas a lot, and I like Wolf a lot. And neither one of those characters have also been announced, so I'm kind of, like, waiting with bated breath at this point to see some of my characters that I actually really, really like playing, the still be in Smash in some way, shape, or form. I've been going for like 11 minutes. I'm just talking about Smash because it's just that freaking amazing, right? Everyone wants Smash Brothers. I'm sure some of these guys are going to get announced, and plus, even if they don't, I'll be able to find characters that I do want to play as. Okay. So, we'll move on from Smash, we'll move on from the Amiibos, and in case you're wondering, they're going to cost like $10 to $15 a piece. They already showcased online images of the packaging for them. They're cool. I think they're cool. They're not a necessary thing. You don't need them. It's not like a Skylanders or a Disney Infinity where you need them to play whatever game. You can play the game, you can play Smash Brothers perfectly fine without buying Amiibos. They're kind of a bonus thing. One last thing about them, though, is they level up. So you can actually level up in Smash Brothers, and they get stats and stuff, and then you can take that character with you to your friend's house and put them in the game, and be able to play them, that same exact character wherever you may go. So there's some cool benefits to this whole thing. Okay. Then they showed Yoshi's Woolly World, which is it's kind of the spiritual successor to Kirby's Epic Yarn. It's being done by the same people that did Kirby's Epic Yarn, but now it's Yoshi. And it's beautiful. It's a gorgeous looking game. It's very, of course, stylized because they're literally made of wool. I'm very much looking forward to this. I loved Epic Yarn. Did it play like a traditional Kirby game? No. So there was a little bit of negativity there. But this Yoshi one, looks like it plays more like a traditional Yoshi-style game. In fact, it may end up being better than Yoshi's New Island, which was released for the 3DS back in March. So I'm actually really looking forward to this. This is for the Wii U. They announced a lot of Wii U stuff, which was good. They needed to do this. So I'm excited for it. They also showcased a new Toad game. Yeah, Toad is getting his own game. Captain Toad is getting his own game. Captain Toad actually was first introduced, I think, in Mario Galaxy. And you got a star from him in Mario Galaxy. It's basically, and then he's also in Super Mario 3D World. And if you played 3D World for the Wii U, there was the levels where they were these big cube-style levels, and you played as Toad, and you have to collect things and get to a star at the end of the level. It's a big kind of like maze, and you have to figure out puzzle elements and escape enemies. They took that concept, and they've made it a full-blown game. With tons of different level varieties and big enemies at some points, and they show like this big dragon you gotta deal with in a level. It's a puzzle platform style game. You're not gonna be able to jump in it, but it's platforming elements in there. It's puzzle based. It's Toad as a main character. It looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. I don't know if they're doing a full blown release for this, or will this be a download title for WiiWare on the eShop. I'm not sure on that yet, but I thought it was cool looking. It's probably something I will definitely check out. Then they showed the big one. The big one. Zelda U. Whatever you're going to call it. The Zelda game for the Nintendo Wii U. We've been anticipating. We knew they were going to do this. The coolest thing about this announcement is that they have announced that it's a and a lot of people are getting it wrong. They're saying like open world, and it is to a degree, but that's not what they're going. They're going for seamless world, and you have to kind of put it on that, because open world to some people means it's a sandbox style game. And that's not what they're hinting at with this. At least from what I've gathered, that's not what they're hinting at. What they're hinting at is a seamless game. For example, what I mean by seamless game is when you would go in a Zelda game from the Hyrule Field to Kakariko Village, there's a load screen, there's a gap. You fade away, it fades away, and then it comes back in, and then all of a sudden you're on the map for Kakariko Village. This is something that's been in every Zelda game, whether it be the screen scrolling over or the little transitions, whatever. Now, you're going to have a seamless world. The entire thing is wherever you want to go at any time. You can go from one end of the map all the way to the other side of the map, and you don't have to reload the game. You don't have a transitional period. You can explore anything you want now in this big, huge open world, which we, of course, assume is Hyrule. Of course, right? It's gotta be Hyrule. It's always Hyrule. But anyway, so it's just this, and it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Rumors have it is running at 1080. That's a big deal. It looks absolutely amazing. They showed a tiny bit more with the character of Link on a horse running through this path, and this big giant monster chasing him, and then he brings out the arrow and ends up shooting at it. And it looks, that's all they showed, and that's all they're gonna show, and we're gonna have to wait until at least next year, probably. Maybe Tokyo Game Show, or one of the So what's cool about Nintendo is we get the Nintendo Direct still, that they get to showcase other new games and other new footage, so there's a good chance we'll be seeing more of this as we go through, but really, really awesome stuff. You already want it. Everyone's, it's Zelda. It doesn't matter, and hopefully this will fare a lot better for Nintendo sales, better than Skyward Sword did. And it's stylized in a sense of that it's kind of it's a combination of Wind Waker cell shading to a degree with already the artistic painting like stuff they were starting to go for with Skyward Sword. So it's like kind of that group connecting, all that. So it's a very colorful game, but it's not cartoony, like a Wind Waker, but it's kind of that mix. You have to check. I'm sure you've already checked it out for yourselves, so you can tell me what I'm right or wrong with that analogy. But anyway, it looks really cool. Then they talked about Bayonetta. Bayonetta's coming out for Bayonetta 2 is coming out. We got to see more combat for Bayonetta 2. I liked the first Bayonetta. I played it in one sitting. I beat it twice in one sitting. I bulldozed through that first game. So this one should be a lot of fun. The cool thing about Bayonetta 2, not only is there a lot of Nintendo-inspired costumes, and I mean a lot of Nintendo-inspired costumes in here with Mario and Link and Peach, stuff like that, it also will include a full version of Bayonetta 1, also available on the disc. So you will be able to play both games. If you didn't play Bayonetta 1, since it wasn't available on the Nintendo consoles, you'll be able to play Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2 both on the Wii U. So that's a big plus to those who didn't check it out. So that'll easily bring in people that may be like, well, I want to play Bayonetta 2, but I don't own one, and I don't own a PS3, or blah, blah, blah. You don't have an excuse. If you have a Wii U, and you're interested in Bayonetta 2, you'll be able to get both right then and there. They talked about more stuff for Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire Alpha and Omega. It's coming out on November 21st worldwide. And there's going to be new Mega versions. They've been showing and leaking a few other new Mega versions of Pokemon throughout. I'm excited because it's a new Pokemon game, so I'll be getting it, of course, on release regardless. And it's a remake of Ruby and Sapphire, which honestly, I haven't played Ruby and Sapphire in a very long time. I talked about this in the video when they first announced Alpha and Omega Ruby and Sapphire, so I'm looking forward to it. Hyrule Warriors was talked about, which is the other big Legend of Zelda game. This one's being done in collaboration with Tecmo Koei, or Koei Tecmo, whatever they're going by right now. And anyway, this is the Dynasty Warriors-esque Zelda game, and they've announced 4 playable characters so far with Link, Zelda, Impa, and Midna, which is awesome that Midna's actually returning, and she rides a wolf, not Wolf Link, but a wolf character, and uses those kind of powers. So really awesome that Midna's in it. I can't wait to see more characters announced. I'm really looking forward to seeing this. There's going to be big epic bosses that will join the map for you to fight. I guess it will be kind of like the enemy officers, like they would be in a Dynasty Warriors-esque game. So still some questions that need answering here. It's coming out in September. and definitely will be getting it immediately because it's not only a Wii U title that will be interesting, it's also, of course, a Zelda title, so definitely worth getting. They then showed a new IP for the Wii U called Splatoon, and they really hyped the crap out of Splatoon. They took a large chunk of about the 40 minutes or so they spent. This whole thing was about 40 minutes long. They spent like 10 minutes on Splatoon alone, or at least what felt like 10 minutes. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because it's a new IP. So it's not like Zelda where you already have anticipation, you already kind of know what's going on with this, or a sequel to any other of this series. This one is a brand new IP. It's 4-on-4 multiplayer online. It doesn't seem like it's going to be same system co-op, or, being able to play on the same system, so I'm a little weary about that. Also, if the online community is not strong, it may eventually be tough to get matches going. I don't know if that's going to be the case. We need to see a lot more of this. But what's really cool is these new characters. They are part squid, part human-esque. They go from a squid form immediately to a human-esque form, and they even have like the tentacle-type hair. It's a really cool design. And the game is extremely colorful because you use ink, and you use different color inks, and your goal for, at least what they showed for the main thing, is covering the map with your colored ink. And whatever team has the most color on their map at the end of the time limit is the winner. Now, that's the only gameplay they really showed for this in the end. Will there be more modes, maps, other kind of things that we'll be able to do in this? Will there be a single player type gameplay in this? Who knows? They only focused on the multiplayer aspect. So we'll have to wait and see on Splatoon. But it's very colorful and very cool. And it's a new IP. You gotta love that kind of stuff. At least it's a new IP, a new brand, a new style of game for Nintendo. And they've desperately needed it because they have kind of ran stagnant to a degree. And they haven't been releasing a whole lot of new things. And then they showed two more things. The next thing was Kirby's Rainbow Curse, which I'm not really excited for. It's for the Nintendo Wii U. It's basically a sequel to Canvas Curse, which was on the original Nintendo DS, that had you drawing with the stylus past, because Kirby's only a ball. He's a ball form the entire game. You don't actually control and move and platform and jump with Kirby. He's a ball the whole time, and you draw paths in order to get him through the levels. I wasn't really thrilled with Canvas Curse when it came out. It's actually probably my least favorite Kirby game ever. And now they're doing a sequel to it. So it's still Kirby. I'm still willing to give it a shot because it's going to be it's going to be all Wii U pad, you drawing lines and stuff like that. But there probably will still be some enjoyment, but since I wasn't a huge fan of Canvas Curse. And then they showed more for the company Monolith, which did Xenoblade Chronicles for the Wii. They're doing their game X, which we found out now is Xenoblade Chronicles X. They now have a full-blown title for it. So it is part of the Xenoblade games. It is a new whole thing with giant, mechs and all that. If you played Xenoblade Chronicles, I did not. You'll know exactly more or less. It's an action-style RPG, so a lot of people are really hyped about this. It looks pretty cool. Also, one other thing they did talk about, and that I did not mention, is Mario Maker for the Wii U. And basically what Mario Maker for the Wii U is, it takes classic original 8-bit Mario style gameplay, but you create the gameplay, you create the levels, you place the enemies, you create the pipes, you do everything you want to do, and then you can put your stuff online and people can play your levels. So kind of combining what people have already been doing for years and years with ROM hacks, making custom crazy Mario levels, also combined with something a little bit like Little Big Planet, where you can create levels and all that in there. So, very cool idea. And you can also do it 8-bit style graphics or the new Super Mario style graphics. And you can flip on the fly. That's at least what it seems like. So that's a kind of a cool thing. And anyway, Xenoblade Chronicles X, I have to wait, and maybe I'll end up getting it in the end. I own Xenoblade Chronicles, but I honestly didn't play it a whole lot. I need to kind of go back and play that, as well as a few other games on the Nintendo Wii, which I'm sure a lot of us are guilty of. There's a lot of good stuff on the Wii that kind of got buried underneath hundreds and hundreds of piles of crap. So anyway, that was everything for there. Now, they also did some more stuff, and they did a Nintendo Treehouse. which is their kind of like live stream thing where they show some gameplay demos and all that. And they showcased more stuff for Captain Toad and Splatoon. But the key was Shigeru Miyamoto was there, the creator, of course, of everything basically Nintendo. And anyway, he showcased some new stuff for the Nintendo Wii U pad that he's been focusing on, games that focus mainly on the pad, including Project Giant Robot and Project Guard. Neither of one really interested me at all. Basically, Giant Robot is you controlling a giant robot doing a sumo match against other creatures and other enemies, and you use the Wii pad to kind of lean to move your character. It looks no interest to me whatsoever. I'm not a big fan of the motion at all. It looked very boring in the end. Now, granted, they say this is a very early version, so who knows, this game may get scrapped altogether or turned into something completely freaking different. We'll have to wait and see. But its initial thing did not look that exciting. And the other one is you have a base and you have to change cameras in order to find robots that are trying to invade and then shoot them. And you can set up robots to come in any order. Like, you can customize it. You can do certain set levels, or you can create a level and say when robots are going to come in and then give it to a friend and have them try to do it. There's a gameplay multiplayer aspect of the person on the pad can only see something, like one thing, like only one camera, and they got to focus on that, and then everyone else is looking at all the cameras and they got to yell out what number to kind of look at and try to help them figure out where everything is. It's probably good for, and it doesn't look like it's a whole lot to go with it for the gameplay. Like, there's not a whole lot of depth, so it could be fun for like a 5-minute, 10-minute thing, but then it's gonna get boring. Honestly, it's a tower defense game mixed with Night Trap. Remember Night Trap for the Sega CD? Yeah, it's kind of Night Trap meets tower defense. But the big news was new Star Fox. They showed nothing of it. All Miyamoto said was, hey, we're working on Star Fox. When I have something that's actually worth showing, I'll show it. That was it. That's all we really need, though, to know that they are making a new Star Fox. My only fear is that it's going to be all gamepad, and you're going to have to drive the R-Wings with the freaking pad and fly them with this. And if that's the case, I'm very scared, because I really want a new Star Fox. I want a new Star Fox that's going to be similar in scale and replayability and amazingness as Star Fox 64. It's what we all want as Star Fox fans. But I fear, you can't blame me nowadays for being cautious and being weary of that things just won't be delivered the way we kind of expect them to, or kind of how we want them to, or how you would think logically they would get done. And that's part of why it's Nintendo and they do whatever they want. So as long as it's not this, or if you want to do this, that's fine, but let us control it with the big giant joysticks available on my Wii U pad. Anyway, guys, that'll wrap up my thoughts on E3 2014. Whew, a lot of talking for these videos, right? Anyway, guys, I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.